Dragon Ball Super episode 123 is now officially in the history books as we make our way towards Dragon Ball Super episode 124, and joining me here today to talk about our predictions and speculations is my good friend Jessica, also known as Bubbles from Popo's Bedroom, as we are going to go more in depth with what we expect to see in the upcoming episode, which is bound to be a very chaotic episode involving Dispo and Frieza, Gohan, Vegeta, and Jiren, and so on and so forth. And again, if you guys are new to this channel and enjoy the content that I provide, be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button alongside enabling all notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a brand new video is posted onto this channel. Hashtag Dragon Ball Squad. Jessica, welcome back onto the channel. Dragon Ball Super episode 124. We have a lot to expect, especially with Dispo and Frieza. And now we have the introduction of Gohan having to jump in. My question to you is, what are your thoughts as to Gohan being involved so early in potentially leaving 17 behind in fighting Toppo while he assists Frieza in fighting Dispo? Because having to look at everything that's on the line, I don't think that as of right now Gohan can just afford to leave 17 unless it's 17's idea for Gohan to just clear house and help Frieza out. That's the only way I can see Gohan going about his way and trying to help Frieza. But either way, we get to see Frieza tap into his golden form, which is very suitable at this point because Frieza needs to be pushed to that point where he needs to tap into more of his true power. So I definitely love the idea of Frieza using these death beam cages to keep Dispo from more or less using his very fast abilities to just outmaneuver him. As we've seen previous, Dispo is very fast and he's been outpacing Frieza. He's been outblitzing Frieza, which is why he's labeled as the Speedy Flash Warrior. So he's very fast in that right. And he's more or less like Team Universe 11's Flash, to the Justice League per se. So how do you feel about Frieza getting involved? Do you think Frieza's going to throw out Dispo, which I'm really hoping for, because with Golden Frieza, this should be no competition, because Frieza didn't seem like he was that injured going into this. But what are your overall thoughts on this cage that he seems to be providing around Gohan and Dispo as they're fighting? And essentially, what are your overall thoughts going into that fight as we near Dragon Ball Super episode 124?
In my opinion, I think the death cage kind of idea for Frieza sounds like it's going to be a good idea, because we did get to see him in gold form in the preview for episode 124,
right,
which is something we haven't seen too much in the tournament. So I think to get to see him in gold form and to get to see him create an attack like that around Dispo kind of does make sense, that he would make some sort of cage type attack that would be possible to ring out Dispo, because a cage attack is something that we've already seen before in just the Tournament of Power. So it's an idea that, obviously we've already been introduced to. So it does make sense for them to decide to use it again this time.
Right.
And to get to see him in golden form, I think is his way of saying, I'm not messing around. So it's time to ring him out now or never.
But do you think Dispo is going to be a direct result for him going golden, or is it just or do you believe that it's going to be more or less a cause that it's Frieza's decision just to go into golden, but nobody's really forcing him to do so?
Well, I think it is going to be the fact that in this episode in 123, they were a little bit shocked that, and by they I mean the Pride Troopers of Universe 11, were a little bit shocked that after all of Dispo's attacks, Frieza barely looked like he had a hit on him. And so I think that it's actually gonna just start getting to the point where Frieza really is having enough of toying with Dispo and kind of does want to get it done. So I think that him going in golden is just his way of saying that he knows he has the upper hand and he just kind of wants to get it done.
Now, I understand that Frieza, and it looks like according to the preview, he's getting pushed back, and I don't really see a problem with that considering that he's in his final form. But what about Gohan? Because this is very interesting based on the title alone. It says this is Gohan's last stand. So do you think that it's plausible for us to see either Dispo get wrung out or Gohan get wrung out in the upcoming episode? Because so far nobody has been wrung out. And if they, just so happen to decide to ring out Dispo, it's going to be down to Toppo and Jiren. So it'll essentially come down to 2-on-5. And only then, we can only make the assumption after that they're going to possibly eliminate 17 and maybe Gohan. So what's your take on what you expect to see from Dispo and Gohan? Because Dispo looks like he's actually going to use his full power, which we haven't seen before. And comparing him and having him be relevant to God Goku, as we saw when, you know, he fought Hit and he fought God Goku back during Dragon Ball Super episode 104, Dispo's not a weak fighter. Dispo deserves a lot of credit for being a very impactful character when it comes down to precision and speed. But when looking at it from the standpoint of Gohan and Dispo, like, what do you think the end result is going to be? Do you see Gohan eliminating Dispo, or do you see Dispo maybe eliminating Gohan, in your opinion?
Well, since the title for 124 is Gohan's last stand, I think it is a possibility that Gohan could be going out this next episode.
How?
Well, just because of the fact that in episode 123, though it was not as satisfying as I would have liked it to be,
right,
the fight of Topo and Gohan, you know, that still happened. So we got to see Gohan against Topo, and just a little bit, like, we got to see that fight. And now we're gonna get to see him a little bit against Dispo in this upcoming episode. And so that's kind of the only two characters left that he really can serve a purpose to fight against. Like, there's gonna be no chance of us seeing Gohan versus Jiren. So unless if we see him again versus Topo, the only other way for this outcome of Gohan to fight more is if Dispo goes out. So in the way that it says Gohan's last stand, I was kind of thinking maybe that's just the way of saying, you know, he fought already Topo and now he's fighting Dispo. He's not needed again after that. Because if Dispo stays in, then he would only offer to aid getting Dispo out. So I think that at this point, if there is going to be a ring out within the next possibly 124, that it would definitely be Gohan, in my opinion, just because I don't really feel there's much more we can see from Gohan.
I think Gohan has been a contributing factor in keeping the team together, because he's all about teamwork. Unlike everyone else, I mean, he's willing to work with people. I mean, he's worked with Piccolo, he's working with 17, and now he's going to be working with Frieza, and I think that he's one of the main attributing factors of keeping the team together when looking at it from an objective point of view, from a team point, you know, from a team standpoint. So I think that Gohan's gonna remain. I think Dispo's gonna get tossed out, because there's no way you're gonna fight Ultimate Gohan and Golden Frieza and survive, which only begs the question as to what's gonna happen with 17 and Topo, because we can only assume that, you know, Gohan's going to leave 17 to hold off Topo while he helps Frieza. So while that's happening, I think that this is going to be the final moments we get to see Dispo involved in. I really don't see him involved, which kind of makes sense, because if Dispo gets wrung out in episode 124, then it kind of makes sense going into episode 125 how Topo begins to unleash more of his God of Destruction power, because, you know, we don't really know as to why he's, you know, going to finally unleash that power, but he's going to do it regardless. And I think that a part of that is going to be because he's going to lose one of his own teammates due to Frieza and Gohan throwing him out. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that maybe as a direct result, this could be a good reason for Topo to use more of his power in episode 125? Or do you see Gohan getting tossed out and something else occurring to where maybe Gohan gets tossed out by Dispo and then Frieza throws out Dispo and thus leaving Frieza in with Topo? What's your thoughts on that? Because I think it only makes sense for Dispo to go, because then we can have Frieza, Gohan, and 17 redirect their focus at Topo, and then forcing Topo and using more of his God of Destruction power. So what's your take on that one?
Well, out of Universe 11, I think that Dispo will be next from Universe 11.
Right.
And so seeing that the idea of Topo having Dispo going out as a trigger for him to actually get to use his godlike power, that is definitely an interesting concept that I would like to see in the episodes, to give a reasoning behind Topo getting to tap into that godlike power. However, I'm not too convinced, honestly, that Gohan is going to outlast Dispo. Just because of the fact that we already have a 5-3 in numbers, so that advantage right there with the numbers left. So I don't know if they're going to truly let Universe 7 keep the number advantage so high above Universe 11. Because it kind of does balance out with the power that Jiren has over, you know, the other characters, but I just think that that number difference is just something that they might want to start slimming down on. And I mean, though we didn't see any of Android 17 in the preview for 124, we also didn't see any indications that he got knocked off.
Right,
so
right.
Starting to feel slowly, like, less and less that 17 is going to be the next one off, and more that it's going to be Gohan to be the next one to go for Universe 7.
Now, redirecting our focus towards Goku and Vegeta, episode 123 was amazing, episode 122 was amazing. Do you see it to where Goku and Vegeta could be a bit more effective in episode 124? Because, as according to Jiren, you know, their attacks have become much more sharper, and what's interesting about Vegeta is whatever this new power is, I would have to say it puts him equal to possibly Kaioken Goku, only because I feel like this gives Vegeta the advantage in trying to be relative to Goku, because Goku in Dragon Ball Super has always had the edge with Kaioken, but now I just feel like this would kind of even the playing field minus Ultra Instinct. Now, seeing what Jiren did to Goku and Vegeta, what's your take as to what's going to happen in this episode? Because it's assumingly Kaioken times 20 Goku, and from what, you know, many people are calling it, Mastered Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Ultra Blue Vegeta, whatever it is you want to call it, this new variation of what Vegeta is versus Jiren. In your opinion, like, what do you see in terms of like an end result for this fight? Do you see Jiren just utterly dominating? Do you see maybe Goku and Vegeta having the advantage a little bit and throwing him off balance? What's your take on that, and how far do you see them going until one of them, or if not both of them, end up being dropped off by Jiren as the Tournament of Power continues to wind on down?
Well, I think that this new form, or this mastered form with Vegeta, is something that took almost everyone by shock. I even feel like we got to see, because we got to see it from the audience's perspective. They were all pretty shocked that Vegeta not only still had this energy left, but still had it in him to muster into a new form. And, you know, I think it's definitely gonna give Vegeta a little bit more of a one-up, because now not only does he have this new form, but, you know, we actually got to see that he is fighting for something, and we got to see that little flashback thing for him that, you know, shows what he is fighting for, and that he does have motivation to win it. And so I think that seeing Goku and Vegeta in this past episode, usually when Goku and Vegeta are fighting, when Vegeta goes ahead of Goku, it's because it's his pride that gets ahead of him, and so he'll attack before Goku. But this time, when Vegeta went ahead of Goku, I think it was a cool little touch getting to see that when they both fired off at Jiren, because he was kind of like showing off instead of being prideful this time. So I think that that's gonna give them, I think that this new form that Vegeta kind of mastered or unlocked, depending on what we're gonna call it, would be Mastered Super Saiyan Blue, or, you know, a new form altogether. I think that's gonna definitely give him one up, which I feel like that would put him about Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken on it, just because they were fighting alongside with those two forms, multiplies Super Saiyan Blue. So I think this is the way of having Vegeta multiply Super Saiyan Blue as well, but as we all know, he never really got the Kaioken, so he's not able to use it in the same way. So I think that this form, in my opinion, won't necessarily exceed Kaioken, but I do think it's going to be something that's going to match pretty closely with it. Just because for Goku's perspective, what we've seen for Goku that exceeds Kaioken is him going into Ultra Instinct form, and I don't believe that Vegeta is going to be close to matching Ultra Instinct form just yet. However, I had a little bit of a theory going on for Vegeta using this new form that he uses, is that since in the manga Mastered Super Saiyan Blue does get teased, that I think this is the way that this is the anime's portrayal of giving us that form. And so I think that that's going to be how, because this still keeps Vegeta one step behind Goku, because obviously this is not quite Ultra Instinct yet.
Right.
However, it is something that right now they can give to him just to keep him relevant in the Tournament of Power.
I really don't see him getting Ultra Instinct though. I mean, there's something about it to where I really did enjoy how Vegeta had like his own moment to where he thought about Kaba, which was very weird because it's like, bro, what about your own family? What about your daughter and your son and even your future son and your wife? He didn't think about any of that. He thought about Kaba, and I understand why. You know, from a Saiyan perspective, it's like that's one of your own, you know. So after everything he's been through and seeing his people die, and now his, you know, the same bloodline of Saiyans being erased from a different universe, I get it to that degree, and seeing him transform was phenomenal. I just think that going into next week's episode, there's something about Jiren that puts him even way above both of them. So you can give them both, you know, mastered Super Saiyan Blue. I really don't think it's going to make a difference. And the only reason why I say that is because look at what Vegeta said in the beginning to Goku when he said, I can feel more of his power within him. And I'm paraphrasing, you know, saying, and pretty much saying that Jiren is not using, you know, using his full power. And that's terrifying because thus far in this entire tournament, he's fought Ultra Instinct, he's fought your boy Hit, he's fought Goku, Vegeta, he's fought everybody, and he hasn't even began to tap into his own potential. And then when he unleashed that one attack that pretty much scared Goku out of Super Saiyan Blue, we saw how his own Kaioshin was like, well, to Jiren, that's just a simple punch, but to anyone else, it's more than that. So, you know, they haven't seen him in that state of mind or in that state of power in quite some time. So, my question to you is, do you think that Jiren is going to obliterate both of them in the upcoming episode, or do you see them throwing Jiren off balance maybe, to where they kind of have the advantage, but not really? Because without Ultra Instinct, I don't see them having the upper hand. If they both had Ultra Instinct, then that's a problem. That's going to be a problem for him. But considering the fact that they haven't given Vegeta Ultra Instinct, I don't see it happening. I mean, would it be cool? Sure, it would. It wouldn't be the first time we saw two characters achieve one transformation in the same, you know, arc as we saw Super Saiyan Blue debut during Resurrection of F, right? With two characters, Goku and Vegeta, showcasing that at the exact same time. So it really wouldn't be surprising if Vegeta had Ultra Instinct, but I don't see, you know, Jiren incapacitating Vegeta to the point where he gets it. So going into next week's episode, what are your overall expectations for Jiren's power? Do you see him using more of his full power and putting them both down? And by the end of it, as we near episode 125, how do you think the conclusion of the episode is going to go? Is it going to be with both of them having to be beat down and pretty much immobile with nothing left in their reserve? Or do you see them holding their own and pushing Jiren back, you know, far enough to where they can at least last one extra episode? So what's your take on that?
Well, to be entirely honest, in my opinion, I don't think 124 is going to focus too much on Goku, Vegeta, and Jiren, just because, you know, in the preview, as we saw, it was mainly Dispo, Gohan, and Golden Frieza. So I'm not saying they won't show any of Goku, Jiren, and Vegeta. Yeah. But I just think it's not going to be the main focus of the episode. Okay. Like, what I can see happening is just going to be, like, the first few minutes just giving a little bit more insight to getting to see the new form, just because, you know, obviously we just got to see this new transformation with Vegeta, right. So people are going to want to see more of what that's about. And then as soon as we get to see more of what that's about, I think that's when it's going to shift the focus into giving us Frieza, Dispo, and Gohan. So I think that next week's episode, the way to give it more time to lead up to the major fight is to space it out by using the other background characters right now. So this coming episode, I really don't foresee too much of getting to see any fighters with Jiren. However, I do think that whether we get to see them this week and I'm wrong, or it is the next coming episode 125, then I would definitely say I think that the teamwork and them both going at Jiren at right now what's mostly full power for both of them, just because Goku can't really tap into Ultra Instinct at command.
Not yet, at least, until he gets his ass, you know, paralyzed or beat down. Yeah, it's bound to happen. I mean, because you can already tell there's so much tension, and as we saw in episode 123, it really shocked me because I did not expect for Goku to technically ring out Jiren, but I didn't expect for Jiren to bounce back. Like, how did you feel about that? Because, like, that just goes to show how much of a beast he is, because he bounced back even after getting wrung out. How did you feel about that? Because that's like abnormal shit. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, you know, like, is he really unbeatable? Do you think that Jiren is really unbeatable, or do you think that there is some sort of a miracle waiting for Universe 7 for them to win and knocking him fully out the ring?
Well, I mean, as soon as I saw Jiren go down, I knew that was not the end.
Of course, yeah.
You know, because as soon as they broke it like that, I was like, there's no possible way. Like, and then once you saw, because they already used before back in the 6 and 7 tournament, back at the beginning, they used the whole idea of broken pieces of the stage.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, in my mind, I was thinking broken pieces of the stage.
Even Kale and Cauliflower when they fused, but then again, they were on like a massive rock, so they were able to push off. But this guy was like pushing off of like little bits of rocks. It was insane.
I definitely think that what I'd like to get explained most from Jiren is his red aura, is that like a power-up for him, or is that just, you know, is that some form of levitation for him? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think that red aura was also around him when he was meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that being around him while he was meditating, then getting to see that used definitely more than once in this past episode when he was bouncing on the rocks to get back up. So is that just how, when he uses more of his power, is that how we know he's using more of his power? Because that's what I really want to know from Jiren, is that essentially just his aura when he's attacking and when he's more phased when attacking? Because the punches and kicks and everything we've seen from him thus far have obviously not been him trying. They've just been like him like brushing off a hair.
Very casual, yeah.
So, is that what we're gonna see from him now? Like the attacks that are gonna be more of him trying in his attacks? Are we gonna see that as his normal fighting aura? That's what I'm interested to see, because was that an aid that he received into getting back on, or did he always have that and it just wasn't apparent until now?
I definitely can't wait to see the episode, because the episode's going to provide so much content for us to enjoy as viewers. I'm only curious as to what's going to happen to Goku and Vegeta, because they're at their maximum. Vegeta even stated, you know, while, you know, powering up to Jiren, that this is everything he has. So it's only going to, you know, just be very interesting to me, at least, to see how he fares up against Jiren in using, you know, more or less of his power against them. So I think that Jiren is going to definitely beat them, because Jiren is definitely hiding something big. I just feel like at the end, it's going to boil down to sudden eliminations, possibly Dispo, maybe Gohan. And I think that as we further our way and we dwindle down in terms of time towards the finale, it's going to be do or die for Universe 7. And unless Goku gets Ultra Instinct, they are screwed. So post your comments down below, guys. Let me know your overall thoughts down below as to how you guys feel about said characters, Toppo, Jiren, Dispo, you know, Frieza. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once again, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. Follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming. Turn on all notifications. Also, be sure to check out Jessica's channel, also known as Popo's Bedroom. I will leave a link down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody.